Hello everyone and welcome to Peel It Back. This is episode 4 and I'm your host Jack Wrenn. On today's episode I'm speaking with Max Hagenbach. I think I'm saying that right, Max, and apologies to you and the family if not. Max is head herder at Come By Festival, and for those of you that don't know or haven't heard of Come By, it is a very special place. It is run out of Abergavenny, a permaculture farm called Three Pools. Incredibly beautiful spot, rain or shine. I had one of my easy highlight weekends of the year there. A festival like no other that I've been to, and it runs on 3 main pillars. I mean, to be honest, I don't want to give too much away because we really talk about the festival in quite a lot of detail during the podcast, but I think I just wanted to highlight what Max and his extended team and the punters have created over the past 5 years is incredibly special. And not that my calendar needed it, but yeah, I think Come By will be featuring heavily for years to come. So thank you, Max and the team, for the invite. I was lucky enough to play 2 sets, one in the umbilical cords and one for the space 10 years in the Duchy, and then also was we recorded this live podcast, hence why we're doing video, because we recorded it outside with the backdrop, and also got rained off and moved to a pretty sexy location, which you have to tune in to find out where. Amongst talking about Come By, I think Max and I we've been on fairly similar kind of growth trajectories, and he's always someone who I enjoy talking to, and he's actually also someone who challenges me as a person and as a friend, and I really value his friendship. And so I think this is going to be probably one of many conversations that we have, both recorded and not recorded, in the future, and I look forward to them. But for now, I will leave you with the conversation. So now it's time to peel it back with head herder Max Hagenbach. Enjoy.
We're rolling. Okay, cool. Well, welcome to Peel It Back. We're coming live from Come By Festival in Three Pools in Wales, Abergavenny. I'm with head herder and dear friend of mine, Max, on, what is it? I think this is day 2, right?
This is day two, yeah.
I've been here for a couple of hours, been soaking it up and taking in what is a very unique festival. But I'll hand it over. Well, hand over to you, Max, to give us kind of a little intro on Come By.
Yeah, thank you very much. Well, firstly, it's a real honor to be on the podcast. I've listened to the other podcasts you've done; they're wicked. So thank you so much for inviting me. So we're here at Three Pools in Abergavenny, which is owned by my friend Hugh. And when I first set foot here, which was when they first bought the farm back in 2017, and I was standing on that lawn, which we're next to right now, and I was looking out on this view, and I just thought to myself, I have to do something here. And I was like, okay, well, what could I do? What can I do in this magical space? And I thought, okay, what do I know? And I've been going to festivals since I was 16. I'm now 34, so half my life. And I thought, okay, I want to do a festival because that's what I know. But I didn't want to just do like another party. Like there's loads of great parties out there. But I was like, I want to do something a little different. So I was having a think, and the thing that came to me was I wanted to try and bring some of the magic that I had experienced at Burning Man. So I've just come back from Burning Man.
It was last week, right?
Yeah. I had to actually leave a little bit early to get back in time, which was a bit wild. But at Burning Man, for me, the level of connection there is just something that I haven't experienced anywhere else. And I think it was Gabor Mate who said, that we all want connection and we all want to be ourselves. And at Burning Man, everybody is given the space to be themselves. So in the real world, your normal job, whatever, you might be like, Dave is an accountant, but at Burning Man, you're like Sparkle Pony and you're running around in a tutu and you can just be yourself on whatever that might be. And also, one of the big things at Burning Man is this gifting. So people are invited to bring something to gift, and also the whole festival. Oh, so it's not really a festival. They don't like to call it a festival, but this big event and gathering. Everything that happens there is contributed by people, and I wanted to try and bring that to a UK festival crowd, because normally when you go to a festival in the UK, you're a spectator. But I wanted to give people
you're a punter, right?
Exactly.
That's it. You're just going there to enjoy the tunes and get kind of mashup.
Exactly, yeah.
That's as far as it goes.
Exactly. So I wanted to give people the chance to be an active participant. And also, I think that, when it started, obviously, it was kind of my friends, which has now grown, which is amazing. But a lot of my friends have these amazing passions and talents and interests, and I wanted to give them a platform to show it, a platform they might not normally have.
Unique platforms, right? And unique talents, not your kind of like everyday.
Exactly. And I think for people who are maybe a bit more shy, so, if you are, or you identify as like, maybe you do something like burlesque, or you're a singer, or you're an artist, and you really identify and you're connected with your creative side. But then there's a lot of people who, maybe they write poetry, or maybe they just like to dance at home, but it's not something that they would share, or maybe they would feel confident in themselves. So I wanted to give people that platform and invite them to come and share if they want to. So it's really the differentiation of, if that is a word, I think it is, of it being an invitation and not okay, what are you going to bring to the party?
Sure.
That, because the first year was a little bit, okay, what's everyone going to bring? But not everybody is as like outgoing and extroverted and confident as maybe myself and a lot of my friends.
Yeah.
So I wanted to give people the space to come if they want to do something. And that, I think, over the years has grown, and we're now in year 6. And as you've maybe experienced so far, there's a lot of people coming and sharing and gifting things, which is kind of what I had hoped, and it's really now evolved into that. So yeah, I mean, I feel amazing. I'm so happy. I'm super, proud of this, and I'm super grateful to all the amazing people who I work with on this, the farm, the amazing build team who come and donate their time, City who runs the socials. This is a team effort, and everybody's doing it for the love. And I think that really filters through, and people feel that when they get here.
I think the one thing that I've kind of noticed, like straight off the bat, is just when you walk down a path, everyone is looking to say hello to you, and everyone is looking to actually look you in the eye, and to make friends. And I spoke to my friend Jake, who was here last night, and he was like, I was here on my ones, like kind of everyone had gone to bed, and I literally was for like 5 hours, and I kind of like, and I knew everyone, and now my friend Ben, who I met last night, is in the dance off, and I'm now cheering him on. And Ben's a project manager, and Ben's now break dancing in front of like 60 people getting worried
exactly,
on.
Exactly.
It's that kind of thing, and it's that kind of, I don't know, your spirit. And
absolutely.
I think the one thing that really kind of shines through is the judgmental element of it.
Yeah.
Kind of. Because as you said, I think you really said that the first year you had to kind of like kickstart it right, to kind of get people a little bit out of their comfort zone. But I think now you've created this kind of safe space for people to really be kind of whatever they want to be, right? Yeah,
absolutely, man, absolutely. I think it's so important that people have the space to be themselves and to feel comfortable to be themselves. And for some people out in the real world, whatever you want to call it, they maybe put on this facade, or they do something to fit in, and they're maybe acting a certain way, which isn't how they really feel, but they just want to do that to feel safe, to feel part of a tribe, whatever it might be, feel like they fit in at work. And here, I think people can just, like I said, they can be themselves in whatever way they want, and also can connect on a really deep level. A lot of those sort of kind of barriers and sort of boundaries which are kind of drop. So, if you approach just a random person on the street, often they take a little bit of a step back. They can be a bit like, whoa, like whenever I go to Berlin, which is like quite often, like 2-3 times a year. And I always, when I leave, I get one of those tickets for the public transport, which have a certain time length on. So when I get to the airport, I try and find someone to give it to. And people are often a bit like, whoa, I don't want what you're selling. And I'm like, no, this is just like, this is free.
Yeah,
You've just arrived. This will get you in. This will get you in. Yeah, sorry, lovely Auntie Leslie's behind you.
Hello,
Auntie,
Leslie.
I'm just recording a podcast with my friend Jack here. Auntie Leslie, she's everyone's auntie. I'm just going to give her a quick hug. So, Auntie, just go around there and you'll find them. Yeah, your hair looks amazing.
You look great.
See, that's the amazing thing about Auntie Leslie. She's everyone's auntie. Even if you're listening to this podcast, Auntie Leslie is now your auntie.
Beautiful stuff.
Yeah. And it's nice also to have a bit of a variety with the age in the crowd here as well. Like both my parents are here, which I absolutely love.
Yeah.
They're very entwined with my life. And my mum is actually, interesting enough, recording a podcast right now over there, which is called How Not to Fuck Up Your Kids. And if you are interested in having kids one day, you've got kids, you should definitely check it out. But there's loads of, that's also the nice thing. There's so many things happening right now all around us, like over there, which the listeners will see. There's a sort of burlesque performance crossed with aerial performance, which is about to happen. And earlier we had sock wrestling down here.
Yeah.
The Hunting Roses were just doing their games. There was a secret rave in the woods just now. There's just everywhere there's stuff going on. And what I love is people come up and be like, oh, did you see this? Oh, did you see this? Oh, did you see that?
You're
There's
like,
so
no,
many
I
things.
didn't.
No,
But
but like,
you
yeah.
had a sick time.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And you know, the weather this year has been a little rainy, but we had 5 amazing years of sun. But I really mean this, it has not dampened the spirits in the slightest.
No, the spirits are high.
It's really high. And I think that's because, people are here, people are enjoying those connections, people are coming and sharing. And also when you share something, it releases oxytocin, which is the bonding element. So people feel more connected than they normally would. So I'm interested. It's obviously your first time.
It's my first year.
Yeah, you've only had 24 hours maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I came straight off the bat from Dimension, so I think I prepared records, and that was about it. I mean, prepared records, lost 3 USBs, brought nothing, and I'm kind of like, dang, I wish I brought something, some fancy dress, and I'm kind of like, I think I'll be at a Megazord, a fancy dress by the end
absolutely,
of the weekend.
absolutely.
I can really feel people are willing to dress me
Oh,
up.
100%, yeah, for sure. And I think for a lot of people, when they first come, they're kind of a little unsure of it because, we're in the UK, and for a lot of events, normally when you pay your tickets, we were saying you're like a spectator, and people aren't kind of used to like, sorry, I'm paying for a ticket and I'm doing something. And but I think so many people come, and within literally hours, people say to me like, oh, next year I'm going to do this, I want to do that. And it's kind of similar thing with, say, going to Burning Man. Before you go to Burning Man, I could talk about Burning Man till the cows come home, but it just, until you get there, it just wouldn't click. It just wouldn't make sense. And I'm not saying that we're on the level of Burning Man, but I'm saying that what I mean is more that this kind of idea of coming and sharing and gifting until you're here and experience it, because it's just not something we're used to. But that's what I think creates the atmosphere here. It really is not like, I work on the festival year round, and it's a passion project for me. I run it not for profit, and I do it in my spare time, and it gives me great pleasure. But all of this is created by everyone who comes. Like, I book the lineup and help, get the production stuff, and we have the wonderful Makata team who come down with their TP, umbilical cords, which is the ambient space, which you did a lovely saying earlier. Like, we have these crews who come down, but it is really all the attendees who come who create it. Like, all these things happening around us, and like all the workshops and everything right now, that's all what people want to contribute. I haven't booked any of that.
Yeah. I think it's amazing, just like the kind of the mentality that people have. They want to bring what they're working on, right? Be it their sound system or their crew, and I guess you've kind of seen like a beautiful evolution over the years of all these people. Yeah. I'm kind of looking forward to already coming back next year. And see maybe what we can do. Maybe what we can do with the podcast. But I guess, I mean, talk me through Three Pools. How did you kind of meet the people?
Sure. Yeah. Absolutely. So so it goes back. So I went to university in Exeter, which was terrible. I'm not afraid to throw.
For anyone that knows Exeter,
I don't feel bad throwing shade there. I mean, it was just not the university for me. I grew up in a little village in Sussex, and I grew up in between London and Brighton, and I thought that you've got London, which is obviously its own beast, and then you got Brighton, and everyone else is like Brighton, very like. Foolishly thought they're like, Liverpool, Manchester, Derby, Blackpool. It's all like Brighton. It's all going to have a mixture of people. But when I went to Exeter, I found that, it just basically didn't really fit in.
Sure.
And then I went to Bristol afterwards to visit my brother, Sandy, aka Dr. Banana. And I was thinking of moving there because I used to go from Exeter up to Bristol to party, basically, because the Exeter nightlife was so terrible. And I fell in with quite a wonderful crew there. So I was going to visit to be like, okay, do I want to live here? And then Sandy was living with Tom, who's one of the people who has been here since the start at Three Pools. And I fell in with their crowd, and then that kind of became my crew. All the guys who are now still really strong friends of mine. And then from that crew, Hugh, he basically got really interested in permaculture. And he wanted to basically buy a farm and prove that permaculture could be both profitable and also sustainable format of farming. But with permaculture, it does take a long time to actually, for the land, because you're not using any kind of like GM stuff or whatever, it takes a long time for the land to get to a place where it can really be profitable from farming. So they needed to do events and parties and stuff like that, and weddings and stuff like that. And it was crazy when they bought the farm. They were all in their mid-20s. None of them have any farming experience. It's quite funny.
Okay, so it's not like a family
No,
heritage.
No.
Okay,
Well,
not-
so Hugh used to like buy and flip houses, and then also in Leeds, and then also his dad did help him as well to buy the land. But it was quite run down when they bought it. But yeah, a lot of the locals basically thought it was like a gay commune, and like a lot of people didn't take them seriously. They were just like, oh, these young guys, they don't know what they're doing. But they've really won them over, and they're a big part of the community now, and they're really involved in the community. Like next week is the Abergavenny Food Festival. They're giving talks there. Like Hugh is actually a very well-respected farmer in the farming community, and very dedicated to what he's doing. And, I'm so grateful for them to share the land, because I feel that some places the land just calls for something like this. Something like Glastonbury, yeah?
100%.
It's got the ley lines there, similar if anyone's been to St. Meadows in the mountains. It's got this incredible land where it's just like it's cooling out for something. And that's how I felt when I came here. This is cooling out for a party. I felt like I could facilitate that. And I'm so grateful to them for allowing me to do that, because, this, come by is like my pride and joy, and being able to have good friends like you here and also new friends. Like, this is such a fulfilling time for me. And just the feedback I hear from everyone is so wonderful. And there's people I know who have been here and they said they've met the love of their lives. We've had babies conceived here. We had a proposal here last year. It's just to have all of that and know that I had some part in it it's incredible.
Yeah, it's crazy to think like what a piece of land can kind of give off, right?
Yeah.
But for the layman, what does permaculture? What does it actually mean?
Yeah, I'm not a permaculture expert, but what it really is it's working with the land. So it's not using any kind of like pesticides or anything like that, and working really harmoniously. So like moving the animals through different farm, because the different feces will like interact with the land differently, and just working in harmony with nature. Like that's my understanding of it. But a lot of farming that happens is actually really bad for the environment. But of course, we need farming, we need food, but there's a lot of issues there. But permaculture, there's a really good documentary, I think it's called Big Little Farm. I would definitely recommend that to anyone listening who's interested in permaculture. Really fascinating. They're out in California. They really want to basically work with the land here. And you can kind of see if you go around, like they did a farm tour earlier, like you can go and meet the animals and stuff. Like they pick the certain breeds of the animal because it works better with the land as well. So it's just very thoughtful farming and considerate and connected with nature.
Cool. What's the? I mean, there's already so many things you mentioned, but what's going to be the highlight, or what can you foresee as the highlight for 2025 of all the different little things that are going on, or anything that you particularly
for this year,
for this
2024 or 2025?
2024. Sorry,
2024,
I'm looking
it's
into
all right.
the future.
The theme this
We'll
year
get
is
there, we'll
Sci
get
Farm,
there.
so we're traveling throughout different times. Good question. There's a few things.
Is there like a classic that you always?
So there's one which is called. There's
to?
one called Miss Come By, which is our sort of talent contest, which anyone can enter, and it's actually so popular that I have to close all the other stages.
Have you ever entered yourself?
No, I have never entered.
Would you ever enter? Or is this a not allowed?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like the thing for Miss Come By is it gives anyone to be a platform to come and be a star, and I do the music for it, and I think
what kind of beats are we talking?
We're talking silly, fun stuff. Like I used to literally as a job go to festivals and do games DJing. So I used to do mud wrestling. We used to have the get high jump. We'd sniff poppers and do high jump. We did a lot of stuff which nowadays, well, it probably was illegal back then, but I mean nowadays you could not get away with it. And that was literally my job for years, going around festivals, and I just have all the kind of like silly, ridiculous.
How do you get into that? How does one like?
Good question.
That's not a LinkedIn thing.
It's
right?
not a LinkedIn thing. Yeah, it's not kind of what I thought I was. At uni when you're getting your degree, what they're telling you you're going to do. So I just finished uni in Exeter, and I didn't know what I wanted to do in my life. Quite common, and I went to Secret Garden Party, and they had this venue there called the Colosseum, and it was Haybell Arena. And there they just had this mad stuff, all these kinds of things I was playing, like the mud wrestling, get high jump, all this kind of stuff. And I just had a bit of an epiphany. I was like, I want to work in events where people come to have fun. Like, that's what I think I'll be good at. So about 10 months later, I I was looking at the Metro and I saw this company, Bearded Kitten, and I emailed them and I texted them. They didn't get back to me, and I got their address and I literally turned up on their door, and I was like, I want to work for you. I got no experience, but I want to work for you. And they were like, all right, well, we'll try you out. And then that summer I was then managing that venue, which I've been to the scene the year before. And then at that time they were going from doing like fun festival stuff to more of a corporate setting. So that's how I kind of honed my career as now as an event producer.
Yep.
Is I do a lot of the festivals, but then also do things like Facebook's Christmas party, do like launches for Google, launches for PlayStation, whoever it is, but always with like a fun creative side. But the festival stuff was like, it was just like, so what we would call bearded. It's like, how silly and ridiculous can we be? And just being super, playful and just letting us be kids again, really. So yeah, I mean, everyone's like, that is the dream job for you. And I'm so grateful for it. And that's what kind of led me to have the skill set that can now put on Come By.
Was there any ones where you're like, we've gone too far?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Give me the blooper reel.
I mean, okay, so it actually was inspired from Burning Man. There's this camp called Slut Garden. They have the Slut Olympics, and they did a deep throat competition, which actually I saw this year. They couldn't do this year because someone ruptured their esophagus from deep throating a dildo. And I basically stole that idea to do a deep throat competition, but dildos are expensive, so we did it with cucumbers. And
also friendly as well to the environment.
Yeah, friendly to the environment. But basically, someone's deep throating a cucumber and it snaps off in their throat. And my first thought is like, I'm too far away to save their life. And my life kind of flashed before my eyes. Me, like, you know, on like fucking TV, like coming out of the kind of court, being like sentenced, and he's going like, and I'm just like, I'm too far away to save his life. And then it shoots out of his throat, and about 1,000 people erupt. The biggest cheer you've ever heard. Just yeah, and I just kind of fall to my knees, just like, oh my, I've just dodged a bullet. Oh, to the extent I mean, that was definitely the worst. We used to do piggyback jousting where we made a proper joust with boxing glove on the end, and someone's wearing glasses and they got cut, and it got a really deep cut in their eye, and I was like, oh no, we're gonna get sued. He comes over, he's like, that was fucking amazing, and I was like, oh wow.
You're just thinking, how does one write up an insurance
claim
or anything like that?
Exactly. One festival, the health and safety lady came up to me and was like, I've heard this is obviously not true, but I've heard you be giving people poppers and making them do high jump. And I just looked at them in the eye and I said, absolutely not. And we never played that game ever again. Yeah. But yeah, we did. I mean, we did some fucking mad stuff. Once we got fishes and we just hoisted people up in the air in harnesses, and they were slapping each other with fishes, and the girls like cutting their faces. Like, yeah, we did, I mean, not that this was completely fruity, but it's just quite funny. We used to do the game, this Whose Uranus Is It Anyway, where we'd get couples, and the guys would bend over and just put the bums out, and the girls would go and kiss the bums. And this one girl was so confident as a boyfriend, went and kissed on the ring. Day 3 of the festival was not her boyfriend. But like, yeah, all of our games were like sort of just fucking mental. But what was so good is people would become heroes. Like the people who would win it would literally be recognized. For the rest of the festival people, there's this one famous guy called Super Sperm because he could jump so high. So with the Get High jump, you sniff poppers, and then you spin around this pole, then you got to jump over like a high jump. And yeah, those days, to be fair, when that was rocking, it was some of the best days I've ever had. Like the energy in there of just like people going wild, and I was just playing all kind of crazy, silly music at the back. And we have a bit of a tradition here, myself and Tom. We play at 6 a.m. We play like the wackiest, weirdest. Like my friend came up to me earlier. He's like, "Please tell me you're gonna play that Thomas the Tank Engine edit." And like, it's just like we basically
is it like the clear out, go to bed?
Well, actually, people want to stay up. It's for the proper wrong ends. It's like I was thinking about this earlier because I've been DJ since I was 18, and like I'm playing tomorrow night, and I'm warming up for. We've just seen someone cycle around on a tiny bike to a adoring crowd.
Yeah.
Like tomorrow night, I'm going to be warming up for Andy Bauernbecker and Gallegos. 2 fucking Panorama Bar legends, and
so hold fire on the Thomas Tank Engine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
My first love is like electronic music, and my first time clubbing was in Ibiza when I was 16, and it was Cocoon, and it was Horton, Villalobos, and Sven Väth, and I didn't know any of them, so I jumped right in the deep end. And I really love that music, but I also have this very silly, playful side in me, which like when it gets to 7 a.m. and you're just having like 6 tunes all night, that's when it's like, let's bring out the silly stuff.
Yeah, nice. Okay, well.
What about you? What have you got planned for your set?
For my set? Yeah. It's a good question, actually, because I'm playing after, who's actually standing behind us now, FCE. So I'm going to have to make sure I bring the A game. So we got Space 10 years. Good question. I mean, I always play, my music's always rooted in sexy emotive music, but I'm gonna play a little bit darker, I think, for this. But I've got kind of lots of different things planned for it, so just in case. But we've got who we got after us? We've got Tom and KRN, LeGram and Wendy, so it's a fairly
it's an amazing
heavy hitter.
Yeah, I was so happy
lineup.
to have the Space Guys down here. Big ups to Tom. Yeah, I'm really chuffed to have them involved. And I think for me, when I'm playing, it's groove. If it's got groove, like that's where I'm at. Like,
Sure.
I kind of like to tread that line between sort of house and techno. Like, I really like the Romanian sound, and I also really love the like NYC sound. So just something groovy with a bit of vocals. That's where I'm at, basically.
Nice. And I mean, we've kind of really bonded on stuff outside of partying as well, right? On kind of more on the mental health side of things, meditation. What's I mean, you were at a kind of Vipassana early this year, right?
Yeah.
So, and I think I think the really interesting thing was actually I've spoken to your dad before, because I think your family's kind of fairly rooted in mental health, right? And
both
actually,
my parents are therapists.
Yeah. So I kind of
And Sandy's mental.
and Sandy, I think you're both a bit mental, to be totally honest with you.
The word that people use Sandy often is daft, and I love that word.
Yeah,
Such a good
I
word.
think you both have that, but I think that kind of, I don't know, maybe talk me through your kind of childhood and what kind of growing up was like,
Sure.
and also, your maybe part of your kind of journey as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So we went to a Steiner school, which for people who don't know what Steiner school is, it's kind of a bit like Montessori. You're kind of just encouraged and given the space to be more of a child, like not just like, okay, you gotta go and do this maths now, and you're going to go and do all this. Like, we had a bit more. We'd studied all the core curriculum you do at any school, but then we had also did things like we did like woodwork, or we would do weaving, or we would do gardening, or like this real like connection with nature. I think for myself and like, mental health and all that kind of stuff, like I realized from like a young age how kind of blessed my life was in terms of living in a first world country, being a straight white male, being educated, having a great connection with my family, that I could do anything. So I decided I was just basically going to be a hedonist. So I just had like, it was basically like rock and roll without the talent. I just went out and I just absolutely lived it. Traveled loads, would go to Burning Man, go to like Berghain all the time, would go like spend all my time at festivals, was like just living this life of like, connecting with lots of amazing girls and also like amazing friends we go partying with, experimenting with everything, like just doing it all.
And pushing it and
pushing
realizing pushing the limit.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. And I had a great time. I think I felt like I had a pretty healthy relationship with it, although I was probably cooking it a bit too much, like a lot of us were. And then around the time I was 28, I just found myself just being like, maybe there's more to life.
I mean, the 27 club is real, man.
It is,
like
but
the 27 club. There is a thing when you hit it your hardest at 27. I think that's there's a reason why a lot of rock stars died at that age, right? And that's definitely when I look back in hindsight when I was tanning it.
Yeah,
for sure. When I'm like, oh yeah, wow. There was like, okay, there was a year of no sleep on it. Saturday sleep was not a thing. It was just kind of like, we don't do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also, so there's this Saturn returns is this idea within astrology where when you turn 28, Saturn returns to the same place it was in the sky when you were born. And a lot of people go through really big shifts. It's not exactly when you're 28, it's like 27, 29, around that.
Okay.
And so for me, like I used to live for the after party because for me, that was where I could be my most playful, make my strongest connections. I'd love to go dancing and I'd be dancing all night, but then I'd get up to the crack on and I'd just be like being so ridiculous. Like with this crew, the kind of crew that we're connected to here with the farm, like we'd go back and we'd all be like face painting each other. We'd turn the sofa on the sides. We could like dive off it. Like we would just go loopy, but all be having such a fun time. And then I would find myself in these situations which I used to live for and be like, actually, this isn't fulfilling me. There's like, I'm looking around and I'm like, I don't want to just keep getting on it and feeling rubbish all week. And then I started this journey of being like, okay, well, maybe actually there is something that I'm like, feelings that I'm like trying to cover up here. And yeah, I did a Vipassana, which for anyone who doesn't know is a 10-day silent retreat where you meditate for 10 hours a day. And I did it really because I really love to talk. I'm not good at sitting still. I'm not good at meditating. I'm not sure how you find that as well. And so the first one to me was a bit of a like a game. I didn't get loads out of it because I was just trying to survive.
How many times have you done it?
I've done 2.
Okay.
So the second one I did, which I'll come back to, was actually earlier this year, was super healing. But so after I did that, I was backpacking. 2 friends told me to go to this ayahuasca retreat, so I went to this ayahuasca retreat. And actually, the first one I went to was in Brazil, and it was like I got some interesting things, but I didn't really break through. And then this time, second time I went, I broke through. Really, and I just had the most healing experience I've ever had. It was like all the things that had happened to me, I was all the traumatic things that happened to me that I buried, I relived, and I realized that when I have something painful happen to me, I just bury it and I just put a positive spin on. But to actually go through all of that was so healing, and I felt like I was connecting more with myself, and that really pushed me on this journey of like more therapy, more plant medicine, and then earlier this year, another Vipassana, and I got so much out of that. And since I've been on this journey of like personal development, mental health, I'm just my more authentic self. I'm so much happier. Like I still party. I've just at Burning Man last week. Like I was flying. You know, I could like to have a day of partying and a day of going to workshops and talks. But like now for me, I still enjoy a party, but it's not the be all and end all where it was for like a long time. And yeah, that this work is like, it's an ongoing work, but also a lot of my friends are like, you just seem so much more calm. I was always like a little bit just like wanted to be that person, the clown, as we've spoken about before. Yeah. Sort of like the center of attention and needing that validation. And then from doing the work on myself, I don't need that validation now. I'm happy. I'm connected with myself. I can like love myself. And that's all from doing the work. And it's so rewarding. But you know, there's a lot of people that get there at different times. And when you do it, you like your trauma doesn't want to be faced. It's like, it's the most painful thing that's ever happened to you. So a lot of people are afraid to do it, but everybody's got the strength to do it. And when you do face it, you just feel so much better. And I wouldn't say push ayahuasca on people at all, but if you have that calling, you should answer it.
Yeah, I think so.
What about for you? What's for your kind of journey been with it?
I mean, my journey, I think my journey came from people trying to push me in that direction. I think you can show people the door, but you can't push them through it.
Absolutely.
And I think that's also something that I've also found to be so true, where I've like, I wouldn't say I'm like fully on the other side now. I think I'm still on that journey. I think it's all about very much adding things to your toolkit, be it journaling, be it talking to your male friends, or confiding in your female friends, or whatever or you know, any friend for that matter, having like the real talk conversations, not realizing that life doesn't just have to be the after party breeze chat.
Yeah.
Like I was at a villa party on Tuesday after Dimensions, and it kind of got to the cokey time, and it was like, and everyone was just having kind of cokey DMCs, and I was like, why am I awake?
Yeah.
I've been partying for like 5 days. I've done the bit I wanted to do, like the really soul nourishing music, had the conversations. Now I'm just awake.
Yeah.
And why am I awake? And like, and I was like, and I looked around and I was like, I'm in paradise. Yeah, internally I'm actually kind of in hell. And I was like, I need to go to bed. And I think it's learning to listen to learning to listen to your body. And learning also, I think the thing that I've really realized recently is you can get set back again. Like I've had kind of like a little bit of a tough summer, and I've been set back, and there was like days where I was like, oh, I feel like I'm kind of back to square one, but I'm not. And I think you get pulled back a little bit, and then you can kind of move forward again. And it's realizing that you have done the work, be it the meditation or the retreat or whatever it is. And it is kind of like listening to those callings, and also reaching out and having conversations with people like yourself, and realizing that there's other ways to navigate the journey, and not everyone's on this linear path. But I think it's, you know, and it's actually, to be honest, is what you probably were alluding to. Partying for me now is better than it's ever been.
Yeah.
Like I'm more present. I'm taking drugs when I do take them to slightly elevate, rather than to be like, I want to be high in this environment now. Like I remember the first time I went to Abergavenny or Panorama, I wanted to get high so quickly that I got so high that I couldn't see for like 3 hours. And Sonia Mooney was playing, and it was the first time I'd seen her. And I was there with my best friend Ian, and I was like, I don't know what left and right is.
Yeah, right.
Like, I just chased the dragon too much, and then I had to kind of ride a wave, and then come out the other side, and I was like, okay, that was really fucking stupid. I was really fucking stupid. And I think it's all about balance, right?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's interesting what you're saying there about catch the dragon, because I feel like I just caught the dragon at Burning Man, actually.
Yeah.
So I've been consciously...
We've got some beautiful Man.
It's sort of like a burlesque aerial performance. The wonderful Henry, and
He's going right to the top.
yeah,
Oh, wow.
crowd are loving it.
Woo!
Yeah, go on, Henry. I love
Okay,
that
yeah,
corset he's
amazing,
wearing.
amazing.
Very sexy. It's unfortunate that the listener can't see this. So I, as I was saying, had this like hedonism. Like it was basically my North Star. And I've been consciously trying to move away from that and
Yeah.
be more focused on like my career. Because career for me was just like, if I have enough money to party and travel, I'm good. And pay my rent, I'm good.
I was the same, man.
Yeah,
that was it.
yeah,
That's
like,
it.
I
That's
don't
that's the
care about
goals.
being Mr.
Yeah,
Senior, whatever. Just like as long as I can do that.
Yeah.
So I've been consciously trying to make this move away from it, but sometimes finding myself in a situation where it's like someone just invited me to what sounds like a really sick party, or oh, actually I was gonna do this kind of work today, and it's kind of like and then I'm leaning a bit towards the party. So consciously trying to make this change, and
the crowd goes wild.
And the crowd goes wild.
Rightly so. Rightly so.
Trying to make this conscious change away from hedonism. And this year at Burning Man, I've had this dream I've been manifesting of DJing on an art car. So for anyone who doesn't know, at Burning Man, you have these vehicles called art cars, and they can be anything. People make mad, ginormous structures.
How involved have you got when you gone to Burning Man? Have you been kind of, obviously you've said this all the gifting. What is the kind of, give an example of what we've done over the years?
Sure. So what I've done is I like to take little vases and turn them into necklaces, so people can take what's called they call the desert there the playa, which is beach in Spanish, and I like to give people a bit of the playa for them to take home. Also, I've done like some workshops there. I've helped like build my camp, worked on the bar.
Do you always have the same camp you go back to?
No, I've
do you
gone to different camps actually. Yeah. So this year I was helping my friend Simon, who was building an art piece, which is called Together for Nether. You should find it on Instagram. And he was basically two golden hands. It was my first time working with the art, which was really cool because the art is such a big part of Burning Man. And it was actually when I was working on in Reno, helping him with his art piece, that I saw these guys building this art car, which is a big rainbow, and I saw them putting speakers on it, and I was like, "Oh, have you guys got like, do you have DJs on your art car?" They were like, "Yeah." I was like, "Look, I really want to DJ for Sunrise." They were like, "Let's do it," and so I was like, "Oh my god!"
If you don't ask, you don't get.
Yeah, exactly.
That's literally the tenet of life. I'm realizing.
Exactly.
At the moment.
So I went, and they were like, "Okay." So on the first proper night of the event, which was Sunday, I went on the Wednesday to help Simon build this art piece, which was brutal. It was like proper dust storms. Like you're talking, one day dust did not stop blowing for like 12 hours, and I got back to my tent, and like and I mean everything had a layer of dust on, and I just had to accept it. Like you think it's bad, like maybe having a muddy tent or whatever, dust everywhere. Like it was mad. I'll show you a video later. So yeah, so I went to DJ on this art car, and like I've been building this moment up in my head for so long, and we got to the moment of sunrise, and we were out. The trash fence is basically kind of like the perimeter of the festival. And as the sun came over the hill, I played the song from 2001: A Space Odyssey, the dun 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 dun, and people were like looking at it, turning around to me, being like, "Yes, mate, that's a fucking good choice." And then I put that straight into "Let the Sun Shine," and people were just going mad, and I got so elated from that. And then as we were driving back, we bumped into some friends of mine, and they jumped on the art car, and literally, I feel like I peaked in terms of my hedonism. I feel like, not that was my goal, but I feel like I've caught the dragon. Nothing in terms of a pleasure-seeking behavior will ever be as good as that. And now I can basically move on to doing other things, still have fun, but like I don't need to like chase the next high. It's like that is the ultimate high for me. And now we can just see, turn my attention to other things, basically.
Yeah, well, I mean, welcome back to part two. We're in the players' lounge. Can you talk us through where we're at? And I mean, we're in Abergavenny, so it was always going to rain.
Yeah, I mean,
but where are we now?
So I mean, we're in a ginormous pink limo, which kind of feels like a funny place to move to after I was just saying how I've just kind of my hedonism dream is sort of wrapped up, and now here we are in the back of a ginormous pink limo, which the wonderful Imi, who heads up the production here with SJ, and a lot of people comment on the the build here. And I think a lot of people come with low expectations because we're a small festival with, relatively cheap ticket prices. And I always love that when people are so blown away by it. And Imi recently connected with someone who's connected with this limo, and there's 125 people who share it. So she's on a timeshare, which I think is almost would it be 3 days a year? Almost exactly 3 days a year.
Yeah.
But she basically just messaged me out of the blue and was like, found this pink limo, and I was like, of course.
Of course.
So last year we had a pink lion, which came from a movie set. And
is pink always the theme, or is that just?
I mean,
it
just happens to be, just thankfully, yeah. I mean, there's just been lots of really nice things that have popped up here. Last night we had the choir. So we had a local.
I heard it was
Welsh,
amazing. I'm actually really gutted to have missed it.
They
to be
are
honest.
spectacular. It's really beautiful. So Tom, who lives at Three Pools, he messaged me called me one day. And, not because we're so used to like texting each other. When someone calls you, like, okay, this is urgent, like something's up. He's like, Max, have you got any budget left? And I was like, dude, we don't, like, we're so over. But he was like, I found these guys. And I was like, Tom, look, I trust you inherently. Which actually, backstory, a few years before, he'd been in Borneo and he met this guy called Jack Black, who was a local tour guide who also was like in a death metal band. So I was like, Tom's like, should we get him out here? So we flew him from Borneo. He'd never left Borneo. We flew him here. Found a couple of lovely guys from up north, and they formed a death metal band and played in one of the barns, and it was absolute carnage. And
everyone reliving their youth.
Like proper mosh pit vibes. Like people were passing out in there. And I said to Tom afterwards, I was like, Tom, you have a green card every year, no matter who it is. They're coming. I don't have to vet them, because I basically booked the lineup, everything else, music-wise, everything else is what people contribute. And so then Tom had called me 2 years ago now and was like, I got to go find these. I've just seen this choir. They're amazing. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, I have to go to the pub right now to meet them. And I was like, yeah, bro, let's do it. The only reason we got them is because they rehearse on a Thursday and they don't really perform out. They just do it, as a social thing. They're all average age, probably 70, not exaggerating. Well, maybe mid 60s, but they are, bless them, all this beautiful group. And when they first came, they thought we were taking the piss because everyone was so into it. They didn't realize that people genuinely were loving them. And it's such a very sincere on both sides. They say, it's their favorite gig of the year, and they mean so much to them. And the crowd absolutely love it. To have that both ways is so beautiful to see. It really is. A lot of people cry. It's a real connection to a group of very authentic, just guys who you wouldn't normally see at a festival, sharing their music and so being so warmly received. It's such a nice way to start. So yeah, next year you got to come down for
Definitely.
it. It's very special.
I think it's interesting for me as a music head to go to a festival where the music is first, but it's also secondary, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And the open, there's definitely this open-mindedness, right?
Yeah.
Which I think probably precedes the music, this open-mindedness to anything, be it whatever the fun daft thing is. I mean, we've just walked in on what looks like an illegal rave as a kind of joke, which has got a tin-foiled Land Rover and two guys
great,
dressed as aliens, and then you've got that to the Welsh choir, to the drag show, to burlesque, and then also
you guys to proper headsy DJs. We've got Vera playing later. It's for me.
It's the whole spectrum.
It really
right?
is, and I'm really I'm super into my tunes. Something we bonded over. I listen to electronic music from a lot of time, sometimes from when I wake up. I have done since I was 16. It's something I feel so passionately about. And as much as I love my tunes, I also love my silly playfulness.
It can be a little bit serious, right?
Yeah, it can be. It can be a bit chin strokey. Yeah, get a bit headsy. And, while we amongst us might be headsy because we're all diggers and all our music, most of the crowd here are not very headsy. Most of the crowd here, they wouldn't know a lot of the DJs, but they will engage with the music and they'll be really grateful and really enjoy it. I'm sure probably the amount of people here who really know who Vera is probably minimal, but they will go there and they will be like, wow, that was amazing,
Yeah, but it gets Vera to a new crowd as well, right?
For sure.
We live within these tiny little niche pockets, right? And it's kind of someone from Bristol who's into cabaret. Well, not Vera, but she's gonna get down to it,
absolutely, right? Yeah. We had Truly a few years ago, and he was just blew everyone away. And most people didn't know, but they were like, wow, that was next level.
Yeah.
And I think also a really nice thing here is because this festival is run not for profit, and I'm paying these DJs minimal. Like, a lot of DJs are coming for free. Like, we're paying like just such small to what they would normally have as a fee. A lot of them are really coming for the love, and I really think that comes through in their music. And I felt that from when I used to book a stage at Glastonbury. And we used to get these big acts. You're talking like Bicep, you're talking like Yob Yobs, you're talking like Palm Tracks, who already had a ticket, but they wanted more tickets for their friends. And when they came to play that set, they were just doing it for fun. And that, for me, really came through. And I know a couple of people who have become very huge and successful. And sometimes they go into gigs and they're just like, it's just my job now, and they've kind of lost that love for it.
It gets so serious, right?
Yeah. I'm sure you must the same,
Definitely, man.
There's people.
It can get serious really quickly.
Yeah.
Or they end up doing kind of like too many sets, right? And then it kind of becomes special. I think there's a real sweet spot on how many.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, this is the first time I've done a festival back to back, and I'm like, wow, it's not easy.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I would hate to be inside your brother's head sometimes.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, when I was in my mid-20s and stuff, I wanted to be. Probably more like early 20s. I wanted to be a DJ. Like, I'm sure all of us did. And but I'm so grateful. Not that it said that if I'd really tried, I would have made it or not. Like, but I've always I realized maybe around that time that like I like to be involved in the party, but I don't want the party to be my life. And that for me is like something which I'm really grateful for. Like, I can dip my toes in, whether it is, we're going to Berghain, or whether it's, going to festivals, or obviously having come by, but it's not my life. I've got a real life outside of it, which I'm grateful for, because I wouldn't want to be going getting smashed every weekend. As we were saying earlier, that life doesn't appeal to me now. And sometimes if I have a really big night, or even, if I am playing the odd gig here or there, and I go and play somewhere and have a real fun time and crack on with the guys afterwards, I don't want to wake up the next day and be like, God, if I had to go fly to another country now, my energy levels just aren't what they used to be.
And then it's the performing in front of people as well.
Yeah, and you've got to be on. You always got to be on, especially if people are paying you good money. It's like they're expecting you to put on a party, and everyone wants to hang out with you. Everyone wants to be your best mate. Like, I've had friends who have gone from no one knowing them to like huge, like absolutely huge. And seeing how it's impacted their mental health when they turn up everywhere and everyone thinks you're God and everyone wants to fuck you and everyone wants to party with you and blah, blah, blah. It's not good for your mental health to just be treated like that. You're just put up on this pedestal and you have to do all this stuff, and then you go to the next place and it's the same thing. And it's also kind of like, can be on a bit of a sort of shallow level sometimes. Not always, don't get me wrong. There's some fucking cool crews out there and really sound people, but sometimes it can just be a bit like superficial to an extent, or just like because you are this cool DJ, everyone wants to be your friend and be in pictures with you and get like you to like DM them on Instagram or whatever.
Yeah, you become Stretch Armstrong, basically.
Yeah.
you become Stretch Armstrong.
Yeah.
I think what we're talking about really what it boils down to, and it's as cliche as anything, but it is all about whatever you're doing within music or festivals. It is about enjoying the journey. Like for me, it's like I still enjoy the digging, the finding tunes, the sharing it with my friends like Tom and Paul, and that's the gigging for me is like the byproduct, right?
Sure.
And it's like for you is you're putting all your effort into running this festival, and it kind of it culminates up to this point in the year when everyone kind of comes and has the best time. But I'm no doubt you're probably enjoying most of the journey as well.
Oh, like
coming up with the ideas, speaking to people, like making, getting this Welsh choir involved, and kind of making, and then like having one eye in the present and one eye on the future.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you definitely enjoying the journey is so important. Like, I put a lot of time and effort into this, and it's because I don't get any financial out of it. And actually, because it's not connected to money is really important, so I can do it in my spare time. If it was connected to making money, I'd have a very different feel for it.
I think that's huge. There's no sponsorship or there's no kind of commercial bar, which is super rare for a festival these days because of I think the cost of living crisis that we're going through. I think to come somewhere where this does feel slightly detached from everyone's outside problems and woes, and because obviously money is a big issue for a lot of people, and tickets are fairly cheap here, and which makes a huge difference. Like, I mean, a lot of festivals now, they're in the kind of 300, 400.
They're twice the price of our final tier. I mean, obviously it's different. Obviously, you're going to Glastonbury, you're going to, it's very different. But I purposely kept the ticket prices the same this year.
When you have like 1 or 2 of these you can do a year, right, or 3 or 4. When you get to 35, you can only do so many.
Yeah,
right?
so true, man. So true. And I've had people asking before if they can come and have stalls, but selling things. But for me, I think that would take away. I want to the decommoditization is important for me. I just want to remove that connection to money and really encourage people to come here and share stuff. And when people do come and share, even if they've spent money buying alcohol for cocktails, when they are giving away, they're getting a real buzz off it. And I think for a lot of people, once they have come and experienced it, they're really they get so into it, and they actually then will bring more and more. And so yeah, it's the only thing that people can buy here is food or drinks from the bar, and that's all connected to the farm. Or we have a couple of lovely caterers that come, and that's separate to me. That's all through the venue. I just want it to be a place where we come, which is co-created, which is which has all the gifting, which has everyone coming to connect and just enjoy themselves, and feel free to just experience human connection in a really pure form, which doesn't have any transactional vibe to it.
We're gonna have a 3-course meal now.
Oh yeah,
which I didn't even 3-course meal at a festival. So we're gonna get tucked into that.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. That's the Nomad and Sparkle. So they have a kind of secret dining experience that a lot of people don't know about, and you kind of stumble across, which I really like. But I just want to say, Jack, thank you so much for having me on your podcast. I think what you're doing with this is really great. I'm really honored to be a part of it. Thank you for coming down and spinning this weekend. It's been so nice, our friendship over the last year, really. Yeah, it's been wicked. And thank you also to Tom as well for helping out with this and for bringing down Space, which is just such an incredible party, which ETHOS totally aligns with what we're doing here. And I just say anyone listening, if you're interested, please come down next year. Come and get involved. We've got a wonderful community building here. We purposefully don't do any advertising. We keep it all word of mouth because no one invites a dickhead, basically. And I'm sure everyone
listening.
You
can feel that, man. You can really feel that in the crowd. It's who was it? Auntie
Leslie.
I got Auntie Leslie. Your mum and dad. There's all age brackets, all
yeah,
colours,
there
creeds.
is,
It's really sweet what you've been building here. So yeah, thanks for getting us involved. And I've spun once umbilical cords, and then playing tomorrow with Space 10 years. So yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait for that.
Cool.
Yeah, big ups. Thanks so much for having me on, Jack.
My pleasure, man. Thanks for having us.
My pleasure. Thank you.
So that was episode 4 of Peel It Back with Max, head herder at Come By Festival. I'm pretty sure tickets for Come By are live. If not now, then very soon. I'm going to put a link to the Come By Instagram and also to any ticket links. It is first come, first serve. And it is a very popular festival. I mean, it sold out last year, and I'm pretty sure it will sell out again because it's such a vibe, and I will definitely be going. And yeah, this is my gift to you, fellow come-byers. I don't really kind of, at this point in the year when it's the festival to club season change, I mean, I look back at festivals with fond memories, but Come By is definitely up there with one of the best I've been to. So hats off to Max and the team for what you've created. And I wanted to take this time to say a quick thank you to Tho. He helps me out with the production side of things. He helps me out with the audio and visual, and most importantly, the post-production stuff. I mean, Tho is really lucky. He's now currently editing the Louis Theroux podcast and Peel It Back at the same time. So yeah, he's working with 2 greats in the game, is all I can say. And yeah, I mean, I had a bit of a faux pas on the way down to the festival. I actually lost all my equipment, all my podcast recording equipment. That's everything from my 2 mics to my stands, sound card, iPhone. I left them all, I put them in a tote bag and left them in the cab on the way down to the festival. So I actually turned up to the festival with no kit to record a podcast, which probably rule 101 is have some kit. And yeah, I was able to, within, I think, played a set in the morning. I played 12, I landed at 11, I played 12 till 2, recorded the podcast at 5 till 6 p.m. And within 3 hours, it was kind of like a side quest. And I was really struggling to sell into the festival because I had people Max wanted to record this podcast. I didn't actually tell him that I'd lost all the kit on the way down. So it was kind of like, it was many side missions to, one, get a new sound card and XLRs, which I got off Tom. So thank you very much, mate. I was hounding Mike, I think his name was the sound guy. I was hounding him for about 3 hours, asking him for mics, and so appreciate. I think, I'm not, if your name's not Mike, I do apologise. But you gave me 2 mics anyway, so thank you for that. And then for the final piece of the puzzle was this lovely photographer Lizzie let me borrow a sound card, and yeah, we managed to get it all together, and it sounded good, and I think it looks good. So yeah, I'm grateful that I was able to hustle, and Tom kind of pushed me to do it. And I think we left you with a really nice episode. So I won't go on anymore, but if you enjoy what we're doing, if you're enjoying the show so far, then please like, share, comment, and give it 5 stars on all your platforms. Subscribe on YouTube, because we're just live on there. And yeah, maybe we'll be doing more of these video ones. Time will tell. So yeah, until then, adios.